It's Flying Friday, and today we have Zambezia. For no particular reason, I have the French edition, which comes with a kid's book and also some fridge magnets. Does the American edition come with this? I don't know. I like it. I always love it when there's a little extra in the Blu-ray package, like a toy at the bottom of a cereal box. Drôles d'oiseaux, which roughly translates to funny birds, which isn't really a great title for the movie, as it's not overly funny, nor is it trying to be. As is common in bird movies, it's a leaving the nest tale, trading shelter for the thrill of living. Though here, the shelter seems like the most dangerous place in the world. This movie starts off in this barren wasteland, and for a 3D film, I was a bit worried that there wouldn't be much to look at. Perhaps ironically, space does not show up well in 3D unless there's something to occupy that space. The nest itself is interesting, just the sort of mess that shows up well in Dimensions. And when we do pull back to get a look at the canyon, it's shown with a touch of hyperstereo. Unfortunately, the sky is usually clear blue with hardly a hint of rain anywhere. Perhaps even worse is when we do get a cloud or some night stars, they clearly reveal that the background isn't very far back and often shows up as a wall. It's not the worst example of the great wall in the sky that I've seen in a cartoon, but in an already sparse setting, it only adds to a general feeling of blandness. This isn't really noticed in some of the high-flying action moments, which have enjoyable moments of birds whizzing around and buzzing into the negative space. We also get to travel along with the birds as they run some aerial roller coasters. Despite essentially becoming two layers, the high speed makes it a fun moment. Another moment had the neat idea of flying through the legs of a herd of giraffe. Although fun, if you watch carefully, you may notice it was done with no consideration to reality. This bird is tearing through the legs of these animals. We frequently see protruding beaks, which are golden opportunities for pop-outs, and although we do get it a little, and it's enjoyable, it's kept relatively shallow. Often I found myself imagining things were poking out far more than they actually were, which is too bad. This movie is a bit too dialed back in the stereo department. There are good moments to be found. When we do reach our destination, which is surprisingly early in the film, we get treated to frequent wide shots of the bird city of Zambezia. Like at the canyon, when the camera pulls back, it adds just a light salting of hyperstereo, and here we see it pull in, and both positions are a delight to see in stereo. These shots show off a dazzling display of background detail, tiny leaves, little sticks, various contraptions, and building structures. The stereo separation, though not huge, is enough to make these displays engaging to the eye and entertaining to look through, like visiting a large model park. It's also not brief. Once we arrive at this city, these rich scenes frequently come up as the story rolls along. So despite the examples of mediocrity, for these scenes alone, it made this a worthwhile 3D experience. This was produced by a South African company, and its domestic title is Adventures in Zambezia. It features the voice of Leonard Nimoy in one of his final roles, and a surprisingly subdued Samuel L. Jackson. The story has some ideas and scenarios that could cut deep, get a bit tender, or even become rather gut-wrenching. It doesn't. This is a sanitized, safe-for-kids journey. Even still, it has a few things to say. Sadness and fear can feel like a safe state of mind, but it leads into a very vulnerable place. And trust is relative to hunger, and a crocodile is always hungry.